All right. Okay, so let me share the screen. That might be helpful. Hmm, interesting. Hmm. Okay. All right. So all right. So in your Google Classroom, you'll see a new section. It says PBAT presentation. Okay. And I'm just going to explain what that presentation should look like, and maybe if one, what I can use maybe one of your presentations or your PBATs as an example of what you should be doing. Does anyone want to volunteer, like what their own PBAT, so I can use it to sort of make a part of your presentation? We have someone in the chat who is raising their hand. Are you raising your hand to volunteer, Akira? Okay. So like a few of you are okay. So yes, Akira.
My bad. Before last mistake.
Okay. So all right. I will. Yes, William.
Oh, I thought you said to raise your hand to.
Oh, no, no, I mean, it's just okay. So I guess William and Jesus are both interested. Um, let's see. I mean, it doesn't really matter. So let's see. I'll let you guys. Okay, Akira, who do you think? Who do you think? Akira? Who do you think? Jesus or William? Or maybe I can flip a coin. That might be the simplest way to do it. Just because if both of you are interested, I don't want to. Okay. So, William, what do you want? Heads or tails?
Heads.
Heads, okay. So if I get heads, William's gonna go. All right. Sorry, William. It is tails. So, all right, Jesus, I'm gonna be using your PBAT to fill in some information. Okay. All right. Let me make a copy here so I can get it. All right. So let me review the actual project. It was assigned to everyone, but like I said, it is optional, so don't need to worry about that. And like in Jesus, we're use yours as an example. And let me just open it like this. Okay, so the total number of slides is 11. Okay, and it's 11, for example, if you did, like, for example, 2 evidences for each meal paragraph. If you did less than this, then it will be less slides. Okay, so um, basically this is what it is. So, oh, and just something so that you are aware, of the instructions for each slide. If you go here on the bottom where the notes are, it'll give you more instructions. Okay, so please look at the bottom here of each slide. It'll give you some notes of what you have to do up here. Okay, and like I said, I'll be going between uh, the Jesus PBAT and the PowerPoint so that you understand what you have to do. And basically, this is what you also need to do is, when you have when you're doing your presentation, you should have your introduction, meal paragraph number 1 and meal paragraph number 2 open so that you can use the information from those paragraphs to do the presentation. All right. So everything's ready. All right. Um, so on the so here on the first slide, it's just like you would say it's a title slide. And you just up here, you need to write the topic that you're focusing on. Okay. So if I'm looking at Jesus, it looks like she is talking about the option number 2 about the American prison system. So, and you can see here, this is exactly what you should be putting on top here. So you would just need to copy your topic and then just paste it up here. And there's no need for you to actually say topic, and then you can just write the actual topic itself, and it'll probably look better that way. Okay. And you will need to find a picture that connects to slavery and the prison system. Okay. So you know, that's Jesus, I guess that's something that I will let you do, but basically you're just looking for a picture that represents this idea. If you want, you can put more than one picture. So if you know, maybe you wanted it to type both of them just to see if anything comes up. Sometimes a good picture will come up if you do both, if you just put the topic. So here are some options. I believe this one right here, this is the graphic for the documentary that I sent for you guys. So that might be also a good choice. But basically, you're just choosing an image that connects to what you want to talk about. Okay. And an easy way to do this is just to take the the topic and Google it, and you should have some interesting items. Okay. But that's basically what I do. So I'll leave the picture up to you, Jesus, but you're just gonna put it here. You got it? You understand, Jesus? I am gonna need your help while I'm doing this, Jesus, because this is your presentation. So make sure that you can respond. All right, so that slide's is pretty easy. It's done. All right, let's continue. So right here, you have to, this is the introduction, which means that you will begin information from the introduction paragraph. And and it says it right here on the bottom too. So you have to summarize some of the main ideas from the introduction. Choose only a couple of important details that you want to talk about. Because some of you have some of you have pretty short introductions, some of you have longer ones. So I don't want you to put everything, all the information from your introduction. That doesn't really make sense. And it would make your presentation long and kind of boring. So you don't want to do that. But I think Jesus is a pretty good size. Even though it's shorter, it's more direct. So she would be looking here for just a couple of important details that she wants to put there. So Jesus, I'm going to read the sentence and you tell me if this is the one you want to include. Okay. Africa slavery was taken to America.
No.
No. They become African Americans in the country.
No.
The life of slaves in America can be described as an animal.
Yes.
Okay. I think that is like an important point to include, and I'll have to change it and adjust here. And this is all the lovely things you have to do when you are copying and pasting, unfortunately. And you can put like another one. So under slavery, American slavery people were mistreated.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Copying again. And another wonderful thing. All right. Okay, they had to experience by working every time and they only stopped for rest, food at breakfast and lunchtime.
No.
No, slavery had no right to visit in the most public places of the county. I think you probably mean country, even take them into the grave to work.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So let's see. Okay, and like you want to also measure like if you see that if there's, I would say like here, Jesus putting 3 bullets. I think that's a good number to aim for. 3 bullets of information that do not take up a lot of space, you know. And I know right here you saw that I was just copying and pasting, but if your sentences are longer, you can summarize them, okay? And you may want to put a little space between them, so you can do this. There you go. See, that's a good size. All right. And I'll change it because there is a grammatical over there. All right. And so like when you're preparing, and oh, for the picture, Hezu, you would just pick, you see you have 3 different bullets, 3 different types of information. You just have to find a picture that connects to one of these, okay? So personally, I think what would be good here would be maybe like how people were mistreated in under American slavery. So I would look that up and say mistreatment of people during American slavery. All right. And so and some of these images I know I've shown you before. So you would just choose one of these and add it there. Okay. And yeah. And just remember, like when you're doing the introduction, yes, these are the main things you're talking about. But also remember that you can give more details. Okay. Like while you're presenting, so it'll make it more interesting, and I actually think that's what we're looking for. That's what Ms. Torres would also like to see, is that when the presentations are happening, that you're not just reading, that you're also adding a little more details. Like for example here, when Jesus does this, she might actually like speak about a couple of examples of how slaves were mistreated, for so any questions about the introduction?
No.
No? William, Akira, any questions about the introduction?
No, no.
No.
Okay, cool. Let's see. So next one, and remember like the introduction, this is only all like the details of introduction. This does not include the question or the answer to the question because that's what's on the next page. Okay. So you're just basically writing the question here. So the question that Jesus answering for the for option 2 is the American prison system a form of modern day slavery? So that's what I'll show right here. Okay. And, this is a lot of empty space, so you may want to fix it. So you can, increase the space a little bit and you can make it bigger. I would say basically because of how it's, designed, you should make it as big as it'll allow you to go, just so it's very clear. All right, and there you go. So the answer, it can also be, as it says right here, write your answer to this question. And it says this can be found in your introduction paragraph. So it should be the part where you clearly state like your answer to the question, right? So right here, therefore, the American prison system is a form of modern day slavery because they suffer mistreatment during their life, during work, or outside of it. Okay, so we'll copy this and this will be added to your presentation right here. And of course, you don't leave it like this. You fix the copy and paste errors that happen. And now you're able to make it a little bigger. Okay, so that's basically all you do here. I know that I do a lot of like design like this. Like, I'll just say this right now. So I know that it says black and white, black and white. If you want to do your own design, if you want to make it look different, that's up to you. You can do that. Just make sure that the content is the same. So if you're looking at this and you're like, I don't like this black background, I'm going to change it. I want some different color. Maybe you like this orange color. I don't know. I don't like it, but just saying, I think it's too bright. You can do that, but just remember that the text and how it's organized should stay basically the same. Right? Okay, and what did I do here? Oh my gosh, is this what I did for everyone? Oh my gosh, I just realized I made a mistake, everyone. All right, so if you have your presentation open, can you please correct it right now? There's an extra slide here that I didn't know was here. It's introduction, so you can delete this one. I don't, so, okay. That's a mistake on my part. Okay. So the introduction shown to be once, it should not be introduction, question, and then introduction again. No. All right. I'm going to have to go into everyone's and delete that. Anyway, so now you're actually going to, if you see here, you'll see summarize the evidence number 1, summarize evidence number 2, and then analysis summary. So basically what you're doing in these 3 slides is talking about meal paragraph number 1. Okay. So we're going to be using meal paragraph number 1. All right. And right here it says summarize the evidence number 1. So you need to put like like just basically like a phrase or a short sentence that summarizes what your evidence is about. Okay. At least for the first evidence. So it will require you to like, go here and read through your evidence and see and just like summarize what it is about. William, yes?
Yeah, Mr. Martin. So it is 10 slides, right?
Yeah, so yeah, it should be 10 slides. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Hi, Mr. Martin.
Hi, Stojakovic. Okay. So, all right, so there it is. And so here, so we're focusing on evidence number 1. Okay. So right here, it cites, according to the Treatment of Slaves in the United States article by Wikipedia.org, slaves were punished by whipping, shackling, beating, mutilation, branding, or imprisonment. Punishment was often meted out in a response to disobedience or perceived infractions. Okay, so if we're looking at this, excuse me, then this is like, I think a summary of this would be like, maybe, what do you guys think of summary? It's talking about how they were beaten, how they were shackled. So I think really this is talking about like the mistreatment of slaves. So we can add that there, and that would be like the summary, like mistreatment of slaves. Okay. And for the summary, like you really just have your, I don't know, you have to use your best judgment on how to do the summary. That's that, I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but either you can do a couple things. You can do it this way, like you can just copy and include it here and see how much space this takes up. Yeah, let's see how much space it takes up. And it should be around size 12. Okay. So I think this is a pretty okay size, I guess. Like it doesn't take up a lot of space. So it's something. And what you're trying to do here is, you see the picture box right here. The text should be lined up with the picture box. Okay. It should be around the same space that it takes up. It definitely should not be more than the picture box. So like, for example, it shouldn't go like all the way like here. I mean, like here, like, it shouldn't expand too far beyond that. So try to use the picture box as a way to measure how much text you put in, okay? And I think you shouldn't have 2 sentences like this, so maybe you need something like that, and that'll be like a better way to do it. And you might have to make an adjustment. See, it kind of goes a little long, so maybe it was you might want to take out some unnecessary words. Okay, because remember, this is also to help you in the presentation, so you don't want to put information that's just going to make it more like that's going to make it so that it looks like you're reading. Okay, and here you're going to have to include a picture. So here's talking about different punishments, so that would be what the picture should be about. So maybe you would ask it like, how were slaves punished? And you'll probably see some pretty horrible pictures or images, but that's what this slide is about. And here you have to put the source, and you see it's pretty small. Like, I want you to include the source in the slide, but it can be pretty small. Okay, it should be pretty small. So right here it says the treatment of slaves in the United States article by Wikipedia.org, and I will point out that this source, this is not on the list. Like I didn't say to use Wikipedia, but I recognize this information. This is information that I used in the web page that I gave you guys for slavery. So that's where Jesus got this information. So um, and I only gave it to you because I know that specific article from Wikipedia. I looked at the sources for that article and I verified it. That's the only reason I used it for my webpage. So it's not going to happen very often, but I think basically since I included it in my webpage, then Jesus can use it in her PBAT and her presentation. Okay, but basically don't make a habit of it. All right, so there you go. So of course they will need a picture here, but this is what your basic slide for the evidence will look like. So like to summarize what for this part right here for the title, what you have to do is you have to read the evidence and kind of summarize it in like 4 or 5 words. What is this evidence about? That's what we did there. And then you're going to have to like pick and choose like what you want to include from the evidence here. This evidence is pretty short, so we were able to include everything. But like if you see here in evidence number 2, this one is a little longer. So you guys would have to read it and really think about what are the most important details. I think Jesus did a good job. Like when we were going through the introduction, for example, she read each sentence and then she chose which ones were the most important. And I think she did a good job on that. So, just do the same process. Okay. So I'm not going to do all of the evidence ones because, that's something that it'll take more time and something you guys should do. But there you are. And then moving on to the analysis summary. So here you will summarize summary of how your evidence connects to your answer to the topic question. Okay. So this is basically what you should include in what you should have been talking about in your analysis. So this you're gonna summarize the main ideas from this analysis there. Okay. And remember that the question is this one. It says right here the topic question. So in Jesus' example, the topic question is this: is the American prison system a form of modern day slavery? So in her analysis, she has to answer that question. Okay. So all of the analysis she puts here, it needs to describe how the evidence that she talked about, this one and this one, how does that connect to that question of like that American slavery, that the modern prisons are basically like the old American slavery. Okay. And of course, you should be using the information from analysis number 1 and analysis number 2. I'm not asking you to do something that you haven't already done. You just need to find the most important details there that that explain why, like the connection between American slavery and modern day prisons, according to the evidence you provided here. Okay. So any questions here? Tasaki? I mean, it's like I can just put one bullet point here just so you understand. So like, she put here analysis 1. So it looks like this is like a description of what life was like for them, how they were mistreated. And here it looks like it's like how they were treated in prison and how they're treated in prison and how it's similar to what happened, similar to slavery. So, I think Jesus would just need to include those details here and describe the connection. Yes, William?
Yeah, for the thesis, I have can you go to, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. So it's from the one that we um from the introduction, right?
Yes. And it says right here, if you forget the notes here, it tells you right there, like write your answer to this question, and it says this can be found in your introduction paragraph.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right.
Thank you.
So if you have any, any doubts, you could please look here on the bottom. I try to put some notes there to help you. Okay. And I am recording like this session, so I will post the video of it like today. All right. All right. So so that's basically you're doing like I would say it's a summary of the evidence for evidence 1 and 2, and then you're analyzing it. You're talking about how this evidence really answers this question that you are answering. And then you will move on to like evidence 3 and 4, and those are from meal paragraph number 2. Okay. And you'll do the same thing. For the last slide, it's just the importance of the topic. And I think this is, I think you really need to talk about like what, why kind of like why you chose this topic. Why did you do your project on it? It says here a couple of things. So you can summarize why it is important to study and discuss this topic in school. So like, why do you think like we should be talking about it in school? Like what's like Jesus' project, for example, she focused on the modern day prison system and how it connects to slavery. Like why is it important to discuss this? And of course, and you can also include your own ideas. So maybe here you can also talk about why you chose it, what attracted you to this topic. Okay. And of course, find a picture about one of these ideas. So whatever you put here, you're going to find a picture that connects to that, and that'll be your presentation. Okay. Yeah, that's basically it. I think your presentations, some of you have more information, some of you have less information. I'm gonna say that when you do the presentations, you're gonna have like maximum 6 minutes. Okay, so and it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but if you're talking for 6 minutes straight, like it's longer than you think. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to plan it for around 6 minutes, because when you do the presentations like normal, like how you will have to do presentations, excuse me, if you're when we go back into the school building and life gets back to normal, that's around the length of the presentation. For if you're presenting like several classes, you should be aiming around 6 or so minutes. Okay. So that's what I'm using to guide myself. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to stop recording now, and if I can find it. Okay.